Well, hello again, YouTube. It's Pete Two Finger, and we're here to talk about Pink Floyd, specifically Roger Waters. Now, Pink Floyd, in my opinion, and again, most of everything in this video is just that. It's just my opinion. The greatest band ever, better than the Beatles. Go listen to "Wish You Were Here" in its entirety and tell me that the Beatles were better than Pink Floyd. No, Pink Floyd, to me, they represent. They have their music has a soul, and it's a message of we can do better. Like, this is what happens if we leave running the show up to the governments and the military. We know where that leads, or is this the life we really want? The debate or the popular opinion now, the majority has always fallen on the side of David Gilmour, that he is put on this pedestal. He is this magician that made all this incredible music, and we should all follow him. Well, I'll tell you what, I've never seen Dave Gilmour, and that's because I couldn't afford a ticket. I was aware, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get to see him, and then I saw how much the tickets were. Roger Waters tickets are always like $50 or, you know. First time I saw Waters was his first solo tour. It was July 26th, 1984, Rosemont Horizon Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking Tour with Eric Clapton playing guitar. And if you're like, he was only on the first leg of the tour, well, there's a bootleg called Lunatic Rave, and it's Eric Clapton. There's photographs of him. I mean, I saw the show. I was there. It was Eric Clapton, Roger Waters. And I took a hit of Black Dove LSD. I was 16 years old. I had just lost my father. He passed away due to a malpractice event. He had skin cancer. But, I got to tell you, those songs, the way that Waters approached those songs, I think he was bitter. They performed them live almost like a tribute band. It would be like a guitar solo would come up, and you're like, and then it would be a sax solo. So there was some stickiness as far as how Waters approached that music for a while. And then around Y2K, he had a band with Doyle Bramhall III. The tour was called In the Flesh. And wow, like I said, I have not missed a Roger Waters tour, with the exception of one. My old lady ran out to the Dominic's food store. They had a Ticketmaster terminal, and you could buy concert tickets there. And the system went down, which was, I mean, it overloaded, and that tour sold out, and I was unable to go. Now, that was a retread tour. It was they performed Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety, so that doesn't really count. I've seen all of the Roger Waters tours. Last tour, Us and Them, saw it twice. Went with my daughter. Next day, my wife went up to Milwaukee and saw it. And, there's moments at these things, like I saw The Wall on my birthday, and I had nosebleed seats, and it's like, it starts. Well, first off, Waters had a homeless guy walking around with a pink doll and a card, and everyone's ignoring it. And then there's explosions and sparks, and the Stuka comes down, and everyone's like, and then all the cell phones come back on, and everyone and you could just see this glow of cell phones up until the helicopter comes and people are. And then a couple of bars in, they realize, oh, we need to get up and dance because it's We Don't Need No Education. And they're all dancing. And during Pigs, 3 different ones, he's got Trump with a microphallus, and he's driving a Fisher-Price car. And these people were walking out. They were furious. And the next day on social media, they're like, Waters needs to stick to his music. When did he get all political? Like, let's see. Us and Them, that was Dark Side of the Moon, 1971. I was in 7th grade when I decoded that mystery, because Dark Side of the Moon is pretty basic. It's corporations working hand in hand with the government and the military to keep everybody down and poor, and create this gap in between, the rich and the poor, us and them, or David Gilmour, the 1% rich guy. So yeah, it's real obvious for me. And I'm a huge fan of David Gilmour. I love all of his solo work, especially On an Island is unbelievable. That's more of a Pink Floyd album than both of those Momentary Lapse of Division Bell. I saw both of those tours multiple times, and they had films where they were trying to emulate and rehash a lot of Waters' ideas. They had these Italian models in a field, like, with this puzzled look on their face. Like, it just didn't make any sense. They had one sequence with the guy going off the diving board, and then there's no water in the pool, and that killed me. That was Shine On You Creek. That was a Syd Barrett thing. That was brilliant. But I guarantee you that wasn't Gilmour's idea or any of it. Like, when I bought Momentary Lapse of Reason, that first solo Pink Floyd album, I immediately opened it up and looked at the credits to see Dave Gilmour, songwriting. And it wasn't him. It was, well, he was in there, but it was like 3 columns of people that wrote this stuff. And, like I said, Pink Floyd represents this, like there's a soul to it. There's layers like an onion, and you have to decode it, and it has all these meanings, and it's some deep, it can transmute this melancholy. If you're sad, you listen to it and you feel better. It's like magic. And it was a different level. It was like its own entity, Pink Floyd. And there was more to it than you could just get at one sitting. And that's what's missing from the work of David Gilmour. Like, they complemented each other so well. And, there was a meeting during the making of The Wall where they met at an Italian restaurant, Waters, Gilmour, and who produced that album? Ezrin. And they were supposed to hash out, there was 2 versions of Comfortably Numb, an aggressive version, and then the version that we hear on the album, which was Michael Kamen wrote charts for the New York Philharmonic Orchestra and a choir, and they recorded the brilliant accompaniment that we hear. And Gilmour didn't like that. He was wrong, and he fought, and Waters and Ezrin teamed up against him. The meeting turned into a shit show, and Gilmour was miffed. And he said, well, I'm going to get you. And he powdered his way through all the sessions, and you see there's an image of him doing this Nazi thing on one of the Wall post photos. And he has nothing good to say about The Wall except for when he was at the top doing the Comfortably Numb solo and had all the spotlights on him, and Roger was at the bottom of The Wall. Gilmour's quoted as saying that was a fantastic moment in rock. So there's this, Pink Floyd, the best thing ever, better than the Beatles, and it devolved into this horrible thing. And now Waters has been marginalized all through it, and the popular opinion has fallen on the side of David Gilmour. And I'm here on the other side of that, and I know some other Pink Floyd fans who feel the same way. I'll come out and say, fuck Gilmour, and they'll go, yeah, you're right. Because they realize that if it wasn't for David Gilmour throwing his fits and his cocaine addiction and scheming and taking over the band, and then those 2 momentary binge of treason. It's an embarrassment, those albums. If it wasn't for Gilmour doing that, there's a chance that they would have continued. And then there was, later on, Waters was reaching an olive branch wanting to tour again with the 4 of them. And Gilmour said no. Rick Wright got sick and passed away, and we got Live 8. So I don't hold Dave Gilmour up on a pedestal. I see him during COVID. They had this giant hotel that someone gave them, and they were bringing all these working crews in to fix this thing up in Italy. And it's not something where one homeless family gets to stay there for a week. It's just for them. They took this hotel and refurbished it while everyone else wasn't allowed to have any business open. Well, they're Dave Gilmour, so they were allowed to bring working crews in every day and working on this. And they've continued to demonstrate how much of a 1%er and an ultra-rich celebutard that guy really is. So it's it's a no-brainer to me who Pink Floyd is. It's Roger Waters, and I've supported him and stuck with him. Although I didn't know, in 2018 he released something called A Soldier's Tale, which is Igor Stravinsky, and that's up on YouTube, so I'm going to be checking that out. I'm going to definitely give that a shot. We got an email today. I'm probably going to break up here. Well, let's just go over and take a look. Yeah, here's the Soldier's Tale on Svet Udby World Music. Soldier's Tale. You can check that out. Here is the Yahoo News. Waters says this is not a drill. That's the name of the tour. Might be his last. So they're coming out in 2022, and it may be his farewell tour. It's more than just a concert. This Is Not a Drill is a groundbreaking new rock and roll cinematic extravaganza, and I am super stoked. I know this is going to be incredible. Performed in the round, it's a stunning indictment of the corporate dystopia in which we all struggle to survive, and a call to action to love, protect, and share our precious and precarious planet home. The show includes a dozen great songs from Pink Floyd's golden era, along with several new ones, words and music from the same writer, same heart, same soul, same man. Could this be the last hurrah? Wow, my first farewell tour. Don't miss it. Love, R. Pink Floyd co-founder said, we're standing on the precipice and it just needs the slightest little nudge and we'll all be yesterday's news. This is not a drill. This is me shouting it from my rooftop and hoping you will all shout it from your rooftops and we'll start acting as one to put an end to this madness. So the show is 36 shows across the United States and Canada, starting in Pittsburgh on July 6th. It's Not a Drill was postponed in 2020. Previous ticket holders, that's me, will get an email and check out Soldier's Tale. So, yeah. I got an email today, and he's coming July 26th. And that's the same day as I saw him when I was 16. July 26th, 1984. The Rosemont Horizon, Pros and Cons Hitchhiking Tour, Eric Clapton on backup guitar, or Eric Clapton on lead guitar. And This Is Not a Drill is July 26th. So that's going to be huge for me. I am a firm believer. Like I said, I saw The Wall on my birthday. You know, this is huge. I cannot wait for this. I know he's going to pull out all the stops. I think it might be the last time I will see him. I think so. I think that's really weird about the date. But I'm super stoked. I know my brother, his wife, and 2 daughters will be attending the show. And they've never seen a Waters show. So I am going to insert myself into that. I want to meet up with them. I got to talk to my brother. We're on and off, and he's got issues. But I really would like to meet up with them after the show and see what their impressions were. I know this is going to be just incredible. If it's his last thing, he's going to pull out all the stops. It's going to be in the round. I have no idea how this is going to work. I know I'm ready to have my life changed again. Every one of these shows, it was a significant milestone in my life. Seeing Roger Waters was always just like, it's on a whole nother level. Like, it doesn't even come close. The concerts are so good as far as the emotional impact it has on me. And I'm sorry, David Gilmour, I never was able to afford to come to one of your shows. The last time you came, the nosebleed seats were $300 or $600. So, that being said, I am a fan of David Gilmour. I really love his solo albums. The second one and On an Island are the 2 solo albums by David Gilmour that I've listened to the most. And I think that music is great. All of the live DVDs he's put out, I've watched multiple times, and they're unbelievable. They're fantastic. But they don't have that emotional melancholy, that connection that soul. And Waters and Gilmour complemented each other really well. That's the thing. When Gilmour said, "Oh, it was a fantastic moment," because it was, and it never would have happened without Roger's prop of the wall. So the problem with it is, like, if you're a Pink Floyd fan, like, you kind of have to pick a side, and I most wholeheartedly choose Roger's side because Roger has been proactive in trying to change the world. He went in front of the United Nations and he's done active campaigning. And while I don't always agree with his political beliefs, I'm so proud to be a fan of Roger Waters, and I know his father would be so proud of him if he was alive because of who he is and what he's done. And on the other side, we have David Gilmour, which is a mass wealth. I don't see anything from that camp. I see him kind of snickering in his very British way about, how good he is at everything and how he's on this higher tier, which may be the case, but without Roger in the picture, you wouldn't have Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, and The Final Cut, which are the high points in music. Anyway, I'm a Roger Waters fan. Sorry. It's going to be a special day for me on the 28th of July, knowing that I've celebrated 37 years of being a fan. I won't be taking any psychedelics that day. I don't need to. I'll probably have a glass of wine when I get home. And I'll make a video review for you guys telling you about the show. You can count on that. So stick around. It's going to be good. And peace.